Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about a very important topic, women in the new parliament, and what are the challenges expected to face them, what are their duties, what kind of topics are they expected to discuss in the parliament, and how can we further empower women and build their capacities for further representation, not only in the parliament, but also in various political forums. We're very much delighted to be here in the studio, joined by our dear guest, Dr. Heba Abdelgelil, co-founder and director of a leading organization in the fields of education, training, and development. Good morning to you, Heba. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much for the lovely invitation.
And Heba, of course, education is part or the essential part of building capacities of women.
Yep.
So let's start from there. How do you see the role of education in building the capacities of women so that they can reach that point that we are very proud to see women in the parliament?
We are very proud to see more women in the parliament now and in the cabinet, of course. And I want to take us back, one step back. So remember our school days when in a mixed school you'd see girls and boys in a school, and you'd find girls very curious, very outspoken. And then something happens by the age of 12 or 14, someone gives them a tap on the shoulder and tells them, you're very beautiful, your job is not to continue what you're doing. Shut up a little bit, and you're going to just finish your college and maybe be a housewife or a wife, and that's it for you. And I think that has changed tremendously during the past maybe 5 or 10 years. And you can see now lots of women continuing their education, and this led to what we see in the parliament and what we see in the cabinet. So basically, if a woman gets a good education, she definitely has the ability to lead, whether in the political scene or in even the business, financial scenes, in education, in health, as we can see now, in different fields of life. So I would say that definitely education is the part and parcel of pushing women further, more into different scenes of life in Egypt.
And have we seen more of that approach oriented towards empowering women through education, starting at a very early age, and encouraging women to be outspoken, as you said, to express their issues, because this is the way towards the parliament seat. If she reaches the parliament seat, she would know how to speak, what to talk about, what to discuss in the parliament, the issues that she knows best. That she has hands on as a woman, as a girl, from wherever she comes in Egypt. How do you see that?
I would like to quote Dr. Rania Al-Mashot on this one. So she has the 4 C's, the principles for success, as she puts them. So competence, which is basically good education, which is also gender blind, connections, confidence, and charm. So if a woman masters the 4 C's, as she puts it, Dr. Rania, you can definitely see her in different parts, taking different roles in life. One of them is the parliament. So basically, competence, whether in what we do in life or through good education, followed by having good connections. And no one would really like to be connected to someone who's not competent.
Yes.
And you will not be confident unless you're competent. And definitely it gives you a bit of charm, which allows you to lead and to maybe mobilize discussions like what we see or we hope to see in the parliament with more women being there now.
Okay, and how, when the first session of the parliament convened last week, how did you see women in parliament? Because to be very honest, I was proud and I was very happy to see more women representation in parliament. And that had 2 approaches. There were so many people encouraging that and being outspoken that this is a very good thing, women are moving forward and so on. And I noticed something else on the social media, that others were just focusing on the beauty of women in parliament. Now we have beautiful women in parliament. And this actually demonstrates that there are some mentalities that, as you said, focuses on women as just a female figure. That's it.
Yeah, so there's definitely the political will to push forward women We can see that in the parliament now. And it was a beautiful scene to see 162 females in the parliament, nearly 27%. And of course, the head of the first session was Ms. Farida Shubaishi, which was also a great thing to see live.
I wanted to ask about that.
Yes, I mean, it was like lovely to see
seeing
her.
her,
Yes,
that was a remarkable thing.
Achievement for all of us. And there is the socio-cultural norms, you know, this silver lining that sort of breaks what we want to see and what is actually there on the ground. So some people still see women as the beautiful female, and it's good to see them on television, whereas the political will is to push the woman forward.
True.
We need to do something about that.
President Sisi dedicated a whole year for Egyptian women 2017.
Exactly.
And since he took office, there have been numerous efforts to empower women. And I've noticed, perhaps you are in the education, so you would know that he, in his speeches, he would talk to women directly, in the direct sense.
Because they actually lead. Even if she's a housewife and she doesn't have a full-time job, her job as a mother and a wife is in a leading position, puts her in a leading position. So she's the one who decides on the education of the children, and consequently, those children are the ones who are going to lead the country. So she is a leader by default. Being a mother puts her in that position by default. But also, now, what we see now is that members of parliament or ministers, we had the very first tourism minister, Dr. Rania again, which was a great achievement. In every board in Egypt now, you have to have a woman on board. So there is this will to empower women.
Yes.
Now it's the role of the society to break the norm and to stop that tradition of seeing a woman as only a beautiful female and to look at things genderly blind. So it's all about competence.
I love this term, genderly blind. This is a very interesting
I mean, we're
term.
not against men, of course, and we're not in favor of women. We are in favor of a good job, right?
Exactly.
Regardless of the gender. And this is what pushes everyone forward.
Yes. What should we expect from women in the new parliament 2021? What
Lots
are
of
the
things.
issues they expected to discuss in the parliament?
They are now in a very, how do I put it in a politically correct way, in a very sensitive time because of the COVID, the pandemic, and also the consequences of the pandemic. And because women are by nature caring creatures. So the two most important topics, I think, for women would be education and health, and also the financial inclusion for women. So for women to get enough finances to support their projects or to support their companies.
For women entrepreneurs.
Exactly, exactly. So I would think these would be the three major topics on their agendas.
Okay. COVID-19 is one of the major challenges facing women in parliament, facing the whole
world.
But as you said, for women in parliament, it's an additional challenge.
Yes.
What are other challenges facing women in the new parliament?
From my point of view, would be society, the trust issue. You know, as much as it's lovely to see a lot of women in parliament, they have a huge role for them to become role models. And if they do, and if people trust them, if they can do something that is worthwhile, and people can see them and trust them, trust their work, they would open doors for other women. And instead of only having 162 females, would have more than that. So it would be a 50-50 maybe parliament in the next round. So there is a very critical role they're playing right now, is to get the trust of the society. Otherwise, we would always be seen as beautiful women. That's it.
And how can we prepare new calibers of qualified women who are able to assume responsibilities in the upcoming period?
Education is key. So two things I'd say. Number one, good education. And now with the COVID and the online education, we have a challenge there. Some people like it, some people don't. And unfortunately, majority of women still fear technology and still think that technology is their enemy in a way. So they still like to stay away from it and just be in their comfort zone when it comes to education. So you see mothers struggling with the online education of their kids, for instance, students as well.
It's true.
It's very risky for women to take that step and to become friends, make friends with technology. So that's one challenge that we need to overcome 100%. And then the other challenge would be...
I guess before you go to the other challenge, Hiba, it's about the age category rather than women, because the older we get, the more we are hesitant and we have our doubts about technology.
You're right. We're not natives. We were not born in the age of digitalization.
And if you see the younger generations, they are excellent with using technology.
Yes.
They just need to be well educated about how to use it properly.
That's it. But they know much more than we do.
A 2-year-old would be able to
use a mobile phone or a tab.
Yes.
But then again, women always like to look good.
Yes.
And taking risks sometimes involves a bit of a challenge where you might risk failure. And women don't like failure at all. So for that reason, you'd find, if we're talking about education, you'd find male instructors more willing to use technology than female instructors.
Yes.
Because we just don't like to look bad, you know? We don't like the technical glitches that happen.
Yes.
Some women panic when that happens. So that's a challenge that we definitely need to overcome.
Yes. Since we're talking about women in Parliament, Eva, perhaps it's a good idea to draw lessons from women in parliaments around the world. If we take Africa, for example, we would see leading women in the parliament. There are some African countries where women constitute 50% of the members of parliament. How can we reach that level? How can we take the experience and apply it here in Egypt? How can Egyptian women try to learn from other countries' experiences in parliament, or women parliamentarians, and try to apply this experience here in Egypt?
I would say just speak what's on their mind. They need to have something to bring to the table. So you cannot just be in a parliament, a member of parliament, and amend everything without having your own opinion, without researching, without knowing what the topic is all about, without supporting, again, your people. So if the society trusts the members of parliament, the females of parliament, I would think next round we can reach like 40%, maybe 45%, which is going to be a breakthrough.
Yes. Well, hopefully we have a lot of hopes and expectations, and I believe that it's a moment of pride for all of us. Women.
Definitely.
Yes. I'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Hiba Abdelgelil, co-founder and director of leading organization in the fields of education, training, and development.
Thank you very much.
Great talking to you as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hella. Lovely to be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, brings to the end of this edition of Women's World. I'm Hella signing off.